Well, hey everyone, this is Kerry Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Just sort of getting this screen in the right place. We're going to be talking about screens, so I got to get mine working in the right place. I am so excited to spend some time with you today and to talk about a subject that is really near and dear to my heart. I have moms always saying their biggest challenge is screens. It's our kids' attitude, but a lot of it is based on screens. So let's talk about this summer and how you could actually maybe get some control over the screens and maybe have a screen-free summer. I know you can't get rid of all screens, but maybe we can reduce the screens. Before we go any further, I do want to at least introduce myself. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. I was a homeschool mom for 10 years. Before that, I was a stay-at-home mom, and before that I taught fifth grade for 6 years. So I've done all sorts of things. Our kids have done all sorts of things. Let me introduce you to them so you know where I'm coming from. They are all grown out of the house. We have finished our homeschool years. Now I'm watching and getting to do some fun things with my grandchildren. So here is a recent picture of us, and I will just point them out. No, it's not the professional one. I probably used to have a professional one sitting here but this is one from just a month ago. So our oldest child is Ashley right here. She is married to Jesse. They have Faith and Elizabeth, and they live in Austin. She helps out with the children's department at their church. This is my middle daughter, Gentry. She is married to Andrew, and they have Landry and baby Deacon. He's slowly getting older. By the time you're listening to this, he'll almost be 1 year old. Then we have the baby of our family, which is right there. That is Hunter. And he's living right now in Hawaii. He started his own business, and his first client, oh, poor baby, is in Hawaii. Gentry and Andrew, they live in Dallas as well. And she actually does social media and events for Chick-fil-A part-time. Now, I will share some stories about them along the way. So I just wanted you to have a picture of where we're coming from. I also want you to know that I'm not just like in the midst of all of it right now. We've sort of gone past it, but I'm also going to share some stories about things with grandkids. I will tell you right now, it is a lot different than when I was raising kids, and it was definitely different than when I was growing up. These things have taken control of many people's lives, and we don't want that. We need God to be in control of all of us. Last fall, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp were completely down for a day. What happened? What did you do? Maybe. How did it affect your home? How did it affect your kids? How did it affect your family? Did you have a little more time to homeschool or a little more time to get some cleaning done? Maybe you had more time to actually visit with your kids because no one could get on Facebook. I thought it was awesome personally. But I will tell you this. I interview my moms. I have a company called How to Homeschool My Child. And often I ask my moms what's going on. And one of the questions I've asked them is, where do you spend the most time? You, mom. And the answer I get over and over? Facebook. So we need to take a step back and see what's going on. Let's talk about screens. How do you overcome it? And if you have any ideas, please share them in this summit's group, because I would love to talk about it. Let's also talk about screens and what they are. Yes, for the most part, we're talking phones, but it could be iPads. It could be your computer. It could be your TV. I will tell you, when I was raising kids, the only screen we had to deal with was the TV right on the other side of this wall. We had dumb phones. We could text. That was about it. But my kids didn't have a phone. They didn't have a phone until they could drive, because there was no reason to have a phone except to call someone or to text someone or to communicate when you're coming home, that type of thing. So TV was really the screen that I monitored. I think the concepts of me monitoring that TV on the other side of this wall are very similar to this. The only difference is this can go anywhere, and don't pick up your TV and move it anywhere. I will tell you, it was real easy to let the kids just watch another show and another show, because it gave me some time to do whatever it was I was doing, but that wasn't always what's best for my kids. So a lot of times I had to think differently. What are we going to do right now? We are going to talk to you moms first. Then we're going to talk about the kids. When we moved to Idaho when our kids were teenagers, like 10 to 18. And I was afraid. We had an office right outside the kitchen area, the kitchen and the breakfast room. My fear as a homeschool mom was that my kids' memory of me would be this, staring at a computer screen. I didn't want them to think, oh, all mom does is sit in front of a computer screen. So what did I do? One of the things I did was I sort of gave myself schedule. In the morning, I was focused on my kids. I was focused on homeschooling. I did not get on the computer. The only time I would get on the computer is maybe to print out something. But for the most part, I already had all that printed out. I could do that on Sundays before the week started. I wanted to be focused on what the kids were focused on. I want to share a little picture with you right now, and I think it speaks volumes. I got this off of social media. Yes, irony. Okay, so here's the mom. She's staring at her phone, and here's the kid. And in case you can't read it, this is what it says. Let me read. Your phone keeps you close to the people far away, but far away from the people close to you. Think about that. Your phone keeps you close to the people far away, but it keeps you far away from the people close to you. Can you imagine that? Has that ever happened in your family? I know that even as a grandma, this thing can get control. And I watch our kids, and my kids that have kids, Ashley and Gentry, they are dealing with this, and they are trying to make sure that when they are with the kids, they're not focused on this thing. And yet this can get so consuming. So we need to deal first with ourselves as moms. I had to pay attention. So I did the computer in the morning. In the afternoon, when they were off at sports practice or friends or whatever, that's when I worked. Now, I wasn't using the computer for Facebook at the time. I was actually using it to work on our business, to take care of QuickBooks and things like that. Another thing that I have done for myself personally, and I would encourage you to do this. Oh, wow. Who knows what that is? Cute little picture. Is notifications. The only notifications I get, let's pull them up, are my text messages or phone calls. I put those together. WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is how everyone in the rest of the world messages. And I have friends that are in other parts of the world that we need to message. And then GroupMe, I get prayer requests on GroupMe. And then I use an app called Trello. I will tell you right now, there's some other red dots. I don't know how to get rid of them, so they just sit there. But I do not get notifications for social media. No notifications for Facebook, no notifications for Instagram, no notifications for TikTok or whatever you're using. And the other one, no notifications for me for email. If I got notifications on that little email thing down there, I would go crazy and get nothing done. It would be beeping all the time. Does that mean I need to toss this phone away? No, we need to get control of it instead of getting rid of it. There are some really good things on this phone, and I use some things on this phone. Actually, if you look at my time on the phone, you'd probably be going, wow, Kerry, you spend a lot of time. But you know what I do with the phone? I use it to read my Bible. I use it to read books. I set an alarm at different times of the day to pray, and my prayer list is on the phone. I'm going to show you this real quickly. So here's my calendar. You can't really see it. So right there, 11:30 every day, I get a notification. I do get a little whatever they do. It's not an alarm. Here's another one down here at 3, and there's another one down here. I get alarms or whatever you call these things on your calendar to remind me to pray. That is a good thing. And so I can remember my prayer request at 11. I can just click this one, and then I can read my prayer request, show all notes, and there's my verses, because I pray verses back to God. That is how I use that. I do definitely use my Holy Bible app, the YouVersion app, and it's a really good tool. There it goes. And I mostly use it to read my Bible. Um, and then what was the other? Oh, group me. Group me because that's how my kids and I communicate. But I am also on some prayer list, and they send their prayer request each day by that. And so I do want to know when they send something to me so I can stop and pray. So I use it for tools. I have alarms that go off. Drives my family crazy. I'll just tell you a little side story. So this Christmas, for Christmas, my kids went together and got me an Apple Watch. Hunter was here. So he lives in Hawaii. He doesn't come home as often as when he lived in Houston. He is here. I am upstairs working on that computer. He is downstairs. My phone is downstairs, and one of my alarms goes off, and I can turn it off on my phone. And he's like, oh, I love that watch because we were usually running around trying to find my phone to turn off the alarm. And most of the time in the daytime, my alarms that go off are prayer alarms. Pray for this person, pray for that person. And it doesn't like take me forever. It's just like, stop for 1 minute, pray for that person. Okay, let's talk about one other thing that you could do to get control. I do want you to see, I am not saying completely get rid of phones. But about 2 or 3 years ago in church, one of our pastors said he was taking a 21-day social media fast in June. I was like, I am on it. The only problem was I do use social media in business, and that is what helps pay the bills. So I couldn't completely get off of Facebook. But what I could do is I could get off my personal account for Facebook and Instagram. Those were the two things that I tended to do. And really, for the most part, in the last 2 or 3 years, whenever that happened, it may have been COVID. So it may have been 2 years ago. I have not missed it. Now, I will say Instagram, I do look at that at the end of the day, not during social media fast, but I do look at it for about 5 minutes. I just scroll through, see if my kids have put any pictures up. That's about it. But I would encourage you as a family to take a social media fast. Everyone. And you will see a difference. This past January, I actually did another one, 21-day screen fast. Here's this. Here's what I did. So I got off social media all except for the business I was doing during the day. But at nighttime, no TV. I didn't watch movies or TV shows or anything for 21 days. All right. I will tell you what, there was one thing I did watch. I did watch some football games on the weekends. Okay. So, but my thing was too often we just get in this habit of eating dinner and then turning the TV on. I don't know what you do, but I'm just saying that was sort of a habit. And so it was amazing the amount of time I realized I was spending just watching TV or a movie on TV. It didn't necessarily ABC, CBS. It was just, whatever was streaming. And it was amazing how I could use that time to build my relationship with God. Now, I am not saying that, you might do a Bible study once a week with your kids. But another thing I would really encourage you, and this summer, we're talking about things you can do to replace the screen. What could you do at night? Leave some comments in this, in our private group. I would love to hear from you. Here are some ideas. And then, well, let me just tell you one thing I would really encourage you is start reading a book at night. Steve would read a book. It was different than our homeschooling books. He read through Little Britches, and there's like 8 or 10 of those. And it took us 3 or 4 years to read through those, but it was great. That was his relationship with the kid. He would read aloud at night, that series. I read other books during the morning time, but that was something that was really important to him. If you need some help, just figure out how do we get all this together. I'd like to recommend, I've got 2 books during this session. One is The Tech Wise Family by Andy Crouch. It is in the handout that comes with this session. Andy Crouch used a lot of Barna Group data. And if you've never heard of the Barna Group, they do a lot of data in churches and trying to see, like, one of those research they did was, why are kids leaving the church? This was all about tech. And he says, the problem is we don't need to be making decisions about internet filters, screen time limits with our kids. We need to be backing up And we need to be developing wisdom, character, and courage in the way that we use digital media. Yes, some of those things, internet filters and screen time limits, those are good. And those are things I've mentioned. But I think we need to take a step back and look at us as a family. And he says it's definitely not just about the kids. If your kids are having an attitude problem with screens, you need to first look at yourself. That's why we're talking to moms first. We're almost to the kids. All right. The other thing he says is we need to not ask the typical what, where, and when questions. Here are two questions he offers. What do we want to be as a family? How does our use of technology move us closer to being that family or further away from being that family? So I would really, the name of the book is Tech Wise Family by Andy Crouch. Andy Crouch has been in, I would say, Christian work for a long time. He used to be with InterVarsity. So anyway, I would sort of just take a look at that. If you are suffering from not good relationships in your families, I would encourage you to take a look at that book. Now, here are a few things. My kids knew what, even though we had dumb phones, they could still text. Ginger was in college, so this was 10 or 12 years ago. She was coming over for her birthday party, and she was bringing 3 or 4 of her girlfriends to eat dinner at our house. On the way over, she told the kids, the girls, don't use your phone at the dinner table. My mom does not like it. She knew, even back then, even though we couldn't even get online, they were those flip phones. They did not pull those phones out at my dinner table. Now, we've gotten a lot looser and everything, but that is an expectation. If you're on the phone at dinner time, your kids are going to follow suit. So you might need to rethink what it is. Do your kids really know what's important to you? Take a step back and look at that. You may have a box for your phones, maybe at dinner table. We all throw the phones in the box. That would be one way to get control of it. I have a friend whose husband, they do have filters. And do you know what your kids are actually watching or looking at on their phone? They found some things they needed to deal with. And so they are dealing with those. So do you know those things? I would encourage you, if you're going to put filters on your kids' phones, you might need to put it on your phone as well. So those are a few ideas for moms. Let's move on to the kids. Like I said, I had TV screen to deal with. I did use the TV. I will tell you, a lot of times late afternoon, I would put a show on for 30 minutes so I could go in and get dinner started. And that entertained them. You're right. But that TV was not running all day long. There are a lot of families, TV's running all the time. Nope, we didn't do that. So we did use it. And we watched TV as a family, but we were intentional. We had purpose for why. It wasn't just like we turned the TV on all the time. My encouragement, whether it's a TV or iPad or phone or laptop, don't use your screen as a crutch. It is so easy. Go to the doctor's office, give your kid a phone, get in the car, let them watch a screen in the car. You know, I know Gentry and Andrew, the only time that Landry can watch her iPad or whatever it is when they're going on a trip out of town. If you're just driving to Target or the doctor's office, no screens. We got to deal with other things. So one of my doctor is a personal friend of mine, and I was talking to him about this. And he said, this was back 10 or 15 years ago, he had a child that he was seeing, and the mom said, the child can only fall asleep with the TV on. And he said, well, I am not going to prescribe any medicine until the TV is gone. Here's what the mom said. He won't let me take the TV out of his bedroom. Who is in charge? Who is in control? He was like, you need to get in control. I mean, seriously, we are in charge of the screens. If they are in our house, Steve used to tell the kids, I'm a benevolent dictator. I love you, but you're going to have to do what I tell you. Now, we teased about that, and he wasn't truly a dictator, but you know, if you lied, there was a consequence for that. So really, you need to think about whose phone is it. I know too for Steve, he's like, I pay the bill on this phone. This is my phone, and you just get the opportunity to use it. My doctor says the same thing to his child as well. Christina is one of the people, one of the homeschool moms in my group. And I really liked what she had to say. So just consider this. I'm going to read some of this. She says, in order to have screen time, you must first have played outside for 30 minutes. You must have read for at least 30 minutes. You must have done something creative, art, Legos, books for 30 minutes. All schoolwork or chores must be done, and all the toys must be picked up. And then you can have 30 minutes of screen time. If you want 30 more minutes, you need to go back and do all of that over again. 30 more minutes of outdoor play, 30 more minutes of reading. I really thought that was a great way to sort of, you've got to do these other things. And sometimes when they start to do them, they get so wrapped up in playing outdoors, this sort of goes away and they don't have to deal with it. She's the parent. The kids know what is expected. And I will say this, if she ever breaks down and 1 out of every 10 times, she's like, oh yeah, go ahead and watch. Go ahead. You can use the phone. I'm going to tell you, if you are not consistent every single time, your kids will keep trying because they're going to go, you know what, sooner or later, I'm going to break down, Mom. And I know from my fact, whether it was screens or something else, if I was not consistent every time, my kids just kept pushing the envelope, trying to get me to do whatever it is they wanted to do. Another thing, here's some other ideas when it comes to your kids. No screens in the bedroom. I didn't invent that idea. My brother did. My brother has kids my age, and then they had 2 more kids they adopted. So they were like, they have dealt with screens a lot more than I did with my kids at their ages. And there are no screens in their bedroom. And all screens are in the living room, and they're charged downstairs in the same place and at nighttime. Now I'm going to show you something I thought was so cool. This is my doctor's wife showed me this. It is a lockbox for phones. It's clear. You can see that their son, that they also have kids that are older, and then 10 years younger, they adopted a child. So this is what they do with him. You could put all the screens and charge them, but your kids could come down in the middle of the night. Not that you don't trust them. But anyway, they have this lockbox, and you can see this is the top of it, and you can see there's a code right here. But let's look at this again. So he's got his journal in there. I don't know what all's in there, but there's a phone. And then there are holes right here. And that's where you can plug in everyone's phone and charge it all at the same time. You can get these on Amazon. So I thought that's actually a sort of a good idea, especially just to take that temptation away from your children. And so that would be something. My friend also, my doctor's wife, who's this, he went to med school in New York State. She said, you know what? I didn't care how cold it was. I bundled those kids out, and every day, these were the older kids, they had to go outside for at least 15 minutes and play in the cold. We just sort of went out and, that it's too hot, it's too cold. They need to get outside. And this summer, you're looking for things to do that are screen free outside. Even when it's hot and sweaty, my kids probably didn't mind the hot and sweaty as much as I did. I mean, they actually like going outside and shooting hoops, playing in the fort, swinging, riding their bikes. But we just had to encourage them to be able to do that. Another thing I would encourage you to do, one other book that I was going to suggest is Screens and Teens by Kathy Koch. She says, if you feel like you're losing your teen to technology, you're not alone. Screen time is rapidly replacing family time. For teens especially, it is hardwiring the way they connect with the world. You need to get control of that. So let's talk about it. Teens or younger kids, what can you do? You need to inspire them to get off that screen. What does inspire mean? Inspire comes from the word in spirit. You need to go to their spirit, to their soul. And every single one of your kids is different. And you need to see what will inspire them to get off the screen. You know, my daughter Ashley has 2 girls. One of her girls, their discipline for her is different. She is very social, And if she needs a consequence, it's time out. The other one, okay, whether you agree with spanking or not, we get a spanking. They were looking at him differently. And you know what I thought was so funny? We'd be eating dinner at the dinner table. She would be in timeout over there in the kitchen. And while we're talking, she's on the floor scooting her little bottom closer and closer because she wants to be with people. So they have looked at each of the children to look at what works with them. I think it's really important that in spirit, what will inspire them to do other things. Now, here are some ideas. I've already mentioned reading a book at night. We read a book at night. We also read books in the morning. Read Aloud didn't quit, even though we homeschooled Labor Day to Memorial Day and no more regular studies during the summer. We still read aloud every morning. And they could do different things while we were reading aloud. They might fold laundry. They might color in their journal. They might do Legos. Hunter would be like throwing the ball up and down and catching it. They didn't have to sit on the couch, excuse me, but it has a chance for us to grow as a family and build relationships. Go for a walk together, go to the park together, play games, bake cookies, make homemade ice cream. There are just so many things that you could be doing. Now, that doesn't mean that you're their camp counselor and you're there to entertain them. I know our kids would come home from summer camp and Steve's like, I am not your camp counselor. You are going to have to entertain yourself sometimes. I don't have activities for you all day. And that's good. So let them be bored. Do you know what happens when they're bored? They become creative. Boredom is the beginning of creativity. Isn't that cool? Kids need quiet time. Their brain needs to rest. They need to quit being on this thing too. And so that is something that I would encourage you to do. Let them be bored. All right. Now, I am not suggesting that we should hold on to all these legalistically and all these rules and borders. I am also not suggesting we just throw it all out. Like I told you at the beginning, there are good things about our screens that we can use. We need to use them well. Here's what I do suggest is these do not control you, me, or our children. Emily P. Freeman wrote the book, The Next Right Thing. Here's what she says. Nothing should have a hold on us. Nothing. Except one thing, and that is Jesus Christ. He is the one who should have a hold on us. And so I would ask, when you are struggling with this, talk to your kids. What is controlling you? I would say, what does God want? And then zip your lip and listen. Listen to them. You might be surprised. Listen to their answers, because what we need to be doing with our kids is doing everything through the lens of Scripture. We need to put our Bible lenses on as we make decisions for these screens. All right? And we need to say, as Emily Freeman says, Facebook, you don't get to interrupt me. Instagram, you don't have permission to tap me on the shoulder whenever you want. Headlines, I can read all of you at once. Later, I don't need to know the minute news breaks. Phone, you're not allowed to boss me. I have good work to do. I have a life to live. I have decisions to make. And I have children to build relationships with. Who has control of your screens at your home? I would encourage you to actually get control of these screens. Think about some of these ideas. Now, that is what I have. I would love to carry the conversation on with the private group. I do have a resource, and I'll make sure that this is on the handout. It's called Drama Free Mom. It's a bundle, and I'll put a special on it or something. I haven't really thought through that, but it might help you go further. I will tell you one thing. I had a mom tell me, Kerry, I got your bundle the first year I was homeschooling, and it helped me transition and get rid of the drama and really take care of what was going on in our family and get control of it. This causes a lot of drama. Getting control of that is one thing. There are other things you can be doing to give yourself peace. Peace in your home, peace in your family, peace in your homeschool. Hey, if I can help you in any way, please send me a DM, tag me in a comment. I am here to help you. All right. I am Kerry Beck with How to Homeschool My Child and Raising Leaders, Not Followers. Y'all have a great day.